Hi, my name's Kathy Skipper and I'm a menopause midwife. Welcome to my channel, The Alchemy of Menopause. This video is a training video. I'm going to teach you how to use active imagination to have a relationship simultaneously between your unconscious self and your conscious self. Why is this important during perimenopause? Well, if you've looked at any of my other videos, you'll see that I'm always talking about the internal process of menopause, about depth psychology, which is working inside oneself with the unconscious mind. And in order to do that, we need to speak the language of the unconscious. We need tools for speaking that language. And one of the tools is dreams. And if you look further back in my videos, you'll see I have done a video about how to work with dreams. But another tool is called active imagination. In dreams, we dream and we're offline. We're unconscious of the fact that we're awake when we're asleep and we're dreaming. And then, if we're lucky enough, we catch the dream, we write it down, and then we work with it, trying to understand it, try to feel into it with our conscious mind. In active imagination, we're very lucky because the two happen simultaneously. We're working with the unconscious and the consciousness together. And active imagination was a technique that was put together by Carl Jung, who is the father of depth psychology. So what you'll need for this is just a pen and paper or a recording thing, if that's how you take notes, and a quiet place to learn this active imagination. You can do this exercise starting with either a feeling or a dream image. So decide which one you want to start with. If it's a feeling, make sure it's a feeling that you want to explore. It might be something that's come up during your perimenopausal journey that's bothered you. Could be that I'm feeling more angry, or this old memory or feeling has come up and I don't know what to do with it, or I'm feeling a lot of shame that I never felt before, or whatever it is. It can be any feeling or mood that you want to interrogate or learn more about. If it's a dream image, choose one dream image that was meaningful and powerful in a dream and you'd like to find out more about that. You'll see that as we begin, I'll be working with the emotion first, and then I will call in. So just if you're working with a dream image, just relax and listen, and I'll call you in at the moment that the dream image part of it begins. Okay, so find a quiet place. You can put me on pause until you get sorted. It's not like a guided journey in the sense that you need to be a little bit more aware and conscious because we're working between these two parts of ourselves. But you don't want to be disturbed either. So find yourself a nice place to relax and take a few deep breaths. Make sure that your spine is straight and that you're not holding any tension anywhere. And consciously empty your mind of any busyness, any thoughts, anything that you were doing before doing this exercise. Let it all just fade into the distance, into the past for the moment. Begin to slow down. Anchor yourself in your womb space. Feel the earth holding you. Nicely earthed, deeply relaxed. Okay, so now we're going to start with the feeling. So first of all, just cultivate that sense of introversion, of looking within. Nothing particular to do, nothing to change, nothing to expect, nothing to analyze. Just bring awareness to the deeper internal processes of your psyche, remembering to breathe. You're redirecting your attention inward, like in meditation or in any form of introspection. Getting rid of the external distractions, and you're going into the inner world. And for those of you working on a feeling, sit with the feeling. Allow the feeling to take up its place wherever it wants to be felt in your physical body. So you can't think a feeling, you feel a feeling. So allow the feeling to take up space in whatever way it needs to so that it can be felt. Notice where you feel it in your body. A feeling that's been bothering you. And as you focus on the feeling, allow yourself to experience it fully, deeply, fully. You're not going to judge it. You're not going to analyze it. You're not going to think about when you first felt it or what happened when you felt it. You're just feeling the feeling, not the extenuating circumstances. Remember to breathe. And as you concentrate on the feeling and you notice where you're feeling it in your body, you can ask yourself, where does this feeling come from? And that isn't an invitation to go through every single nitty-bitty thing that happened with the feeling. It's just asking the question, where does it come from? Because it might come from a deeper place than you can even imagine. Where does this feeling come from? Remember to breathe, relax. Who is the one inside me who feels like this? Who is the one inside me who feels like this? What is the image of this feeling? What does it look like? The image that arises from this feeling. And here, nothing to do, nothing to change. It's just stay aware and allow the image to offer you its, allow the emotion or the feeling to offer you its image. Consciously invite the unconscious to manifest from the feeling. This is the unconscious. This is something you haven't seen or known about before. The feeling is going to offer itself in an image. If you're having trouble, you can even verbalize this invitation. Please, feeling, show me your image. Remembering to breathe. And wait for the raw energy from the feeling to offer its image. And as you stay with the feeling and the inner tension that the feeling creates, it may eventually coalesce into a distinct image. Remember to breathe. This is a manifestation of your unconscious. This is an offering from your unconscious. Let it arise spontaneously. And don't worry if an image doesn't appear. Refocus on the feeling. At this point, if you're working with a dream image, bring your dream image in. Bring it to mind inside yourself. Hold the image so that you can see it in your mind's eye, the image of the dream or the image that's come from the feeling. And as you hold it not so tightly that the image can't move or develop on its own. And don't hold it so lightly that it gets away from you. It's that sweet spot where it can move and change and evolve, but it won't disappear. You just keep your focus. Remember to breathe. You've got the image, and you're just allowing the image to stay present with it. It can move. Notice how the image starts to change and evolve. Be careful not to force it to turn into something. You have nothing to do, just observe it. Hold it and observe it. Allow it to change spontaneously. All you need to do is breathe and bring awareness. And be very aware not to jump from one subject to another. Don't be impatient. If it doesn't move, you just allow. You breathe and you allow. You hold and you wait. Nothing to do, nothing to change, just allow. If your mind wanders, redirect your attention to the feeling or the image in a non-judgmental way. If your feeling hasn't given you an image, don't judge it. Don't worry. Stay with the feeling. If you have an image, then don't allow yourself to wander off into other directions. Just stay with the image and allow it to move spontaneously. This is the real interaction between your unconscious and your conscious self. Observe how the image transforms. Eventually, if this is working for you, you can interact with the image. You can ask it questions. You can ask what it's trying to tell you if you don't understand. Just be careful that you wait for the response, you don't force anything. You can ask the image who or what has come alive. It could be a key moment that is at the bottom of this feeling. Feeling might get triggered in today in this journey of menopause, but it might be from a deeper key moment in your life. And don't worry if this doesn't work the first time. This is the process. This is the exercise. You can always come back and repeat it. You could ask the image. These are questions that Carl Jung created for this exercise. One of them is, who or what has entered my psychic life and created disturbances and wants to be heard? Who or what has entered my psychic life and created disturbances and wants to be heard? Could be a younger part of yourself. Could be a buried part of yourself. Could be a wounded part of yourself, a hurt part of yourself, an angry part of yourself. No wrong or right. It's you and your story. Let it speak. And if this really is working for you, you can even step into the mental frame and imagine yourself speaking with the image. Okay, well, that's to show you how to do it. You can always come back, you can write down the processes. And one thing to remember is once you've come out of the active imagination, then it's always good to concretize what you saw in some way. So it could be just writing it down in your journal, but if it's something very powerful, so I did this, and I worked on a feeling that keeps coming up for me, and it's a feeling in my relationship with my husband. It's this feeling I get triggered and by his response. And his response is his response. His response is very defensive. That's his trigger, but it triggers something in me. And I did an active imagination on it, and I went back to this little girl that I was about 6, and in the house we lived in, we had this, it was called Tower House, and it had this kind of false Victorian tower, and inside in the living room there was this sort of mantelpiece that went around the inside of the tower, and we weren't allowed to walk along it, as you can imagine, but my brother, who's older than me, walked along it, and I followed him. And my mum came in, and he'd got down, and my mum saw me getting down, and she hit me over the head with a massive hard-backed hairbrush. And she asked him if he'd been up there, and he lied. He said no. And I realized that at the heart of my husband's defensiveness, where he gets triggered if I say something, and that's his problem, he thinks that I'm accusing him. That's his thing. And it somehow triggers this thing where I was wrongly accused. And when I did the active imagination and realized this, I realized that and this I only did very recently, so I have to find a concretization of something that will, in the active imagination, I said to the little girl, she was furious. So when the picture carried on, I saw myself breaking down that mantelpiece, hitting this glass table. I was furious. So this was obviously this fury and this anger to this situation that I'd never been allowed to fully feel or express. And so in the active imagination, I, as myself, went into the scene, and I said to the little girl, look, I understand, I see you, I behold you. I don't think anybody had ever recognized how bad she felt about this situation. I said, do you want to come with me? She said, yeah. So I really have to find a way of concretizing that. It's always good to do a little ritual or something that brings what you saw into the concrete and sort of integrates it. So there we go. If you want to share anything, feel free to share in the comments below. And if you like these videos, please subscribe to my channel. Lots of love.